What's up? We are back on the Grip Podcast. This is episode 30, I believe. Really excited to hit 30 episodes on this podcast since the change from Sherilyn when we originally started under the Elevators podcast. I am sad to announce that Leah will no longer be a contributor on the podcast due to some scheduling and timing issues. Very, 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 very sad about that. I love speaking with her and learning things, and it was just great to have the time that we had with her. But we have to keep moving on. Conversation has to keep going. We have to keep talking about these topics, and the struggle and the fight continues. So, with that said, Mom always told me never look back, keep moving forward. I'm going to go ahead and hit this playlist shuffle and see what we get. Hopefully, I don't get embarrassed. I've been on a pretty hot streak here lately. Let's see what we got. Oh. Oh. This is a fucking classic. The Points Black Panther soundtrack. Man, this came out a long time ago. Okay, so here we go. Welcome to the Grip Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Scott Osborne. Again, episode number 30. I'm glad for everybody coming back and checking us out. Like I said, we're going to keep moving this conversation forward. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, under The Grip. Search The Grip. Tell your friends about The Grip. Still got the contest running where every time you share the episode or the podcast, you're entered into a $100 Amazon gift card drawing that I'm going to do, I believe, on Tuesday, whatever the last day of the month is. I'm going to record it and then post it on social media, and the winner will be announced. So you still got some time to do that. There's no limit to how many times you can share. Every time you share is another entry into the drawing. Get your Be Humane wristbands. They are $5. Go to SkyEnt.live. Dollar shipping, $6 total. If you know me in person, just ask for one and I'll give it to you for $5, obviously without the shipping. Point of the Be Humane, Be Humane wristband is to be a conversation starter. You wear the wristband, somebody sees it, asks you what it is. You say, hey, glad you asked. This is about whatever your Be Humane issue is. It can be police brutality, global warming, I don't know. There's a litany of things out there. Feminism, women's rights, you name it. Whatever you want it to be. I kind of want to let this rock until we get to Bone. But I'll probably have to cut it off here because it's going to run too long. It's such a good song. Okay, we're going to go ahead and fade that out. Busted comes up next. I think Bone's after them, or after him. Oh, it's such a good song. I'm glad that came up. I'm on a roll here. All right, let me go ahead and get ready for our guest this week. I guess I like to say surprise guest, but if you're in the podcast world, you might have already heard of this podcast. We're going to go ahead and call him. This is going to be my boy Todd from Skip the Tutorial podcast. Really successful podcast, and I'm so happy he's taking some time to come on my podcast and show some love. So let's go ahead and give Todd a call. Let's see what we got. I gotta turn that up.
Whoa.
Yo. What's good,
up,
man?
Not much, man. Not much. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
How are you?
It is late.
Yeah.
It is late.
It's all good though, man. It's all good, man. I'm excited to be fucking with you. You already know.
Yeah, man. I was talking a little bit about you. Now, I don't know what you go by. I know how I know you, but I was saying, I got Todd coming on from Skip the Tutorial. Is that what you go by?
Yeah, man. That's always what I went by, man. My first name is Trentis.
Oh.
It's Trentis Todd Fortner Jr.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, my mama raised me, man, since being a junior, I always been Todd. You know what I'm saying? I have other names. T.O. Double. Eskimo Slim, shout out 6'7", but nah, man, Todd. That's my people copy.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. What about me?
You coming in loud and clear. I got you plugged right into the Pro Tools.
Beautiful. I know you on top of your shit.
Yeah, so you sound good. I just want to make sure you can hear me. Usually everybody can hear me pretty well when I do this on the phone. So listen, man, before we get into the shits, you don't have to give me your review, but I've seen Endgame twice.
I'm so glad you brought this up, bro.
I saw it Friday with a friend from the JLB, and I saw it today with my wife. I'm kind of worn out. I'm kind of worn out, man. I'm kind of worn out.
I mean, what you mean by that? Like, okay, you got to break it down like a little bit from what you, just the overall hype behind it, or just worn out as far as the emotion that shit drew from you.
You just hit the nail on the head, man. That was like an emotional marathon,
right?
Like I was like, before I talked to my wife about, or when I was talking to her about it, she was like, just what can you tell me without ruining the movie? I was like, look, all the emotions.
Yeah, so we not spoiling nothing right now. I don't know when did your episode come out?
It come out tomorrow, but I mean, if we want to spoil, well, I don't say spoil it. What I can do is like right now say, hey, spoiler warning. I'll put a time code in the description and say, hey, if you don't want this movie spoiled for you, go ahead and skip this part.
Okay.
And so that can go ahead and be our official spoiler warning. So if you're listening, skip this part if you haven't seen the movie yet, and just go to the description, look for the time code. So when you want to get past this. So there you go.
Okay.
Go into it.
Okay. Now, and I'm still not gonna go too much in depth, but I saw it earlier this morning. I went in at 7:30.
Was that the first time?
Yeah, that was my first time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That was like when I ordered the ticket like back on April 2nd.
Yeah.
And at that time, where I like to watch my movies, the shit had already been bought up. I was like, man, all right, cool. That's the earliest day. It's a Saturday, and it was cool. And I can't, I actually, we kind of teased and started fucking with a little bit of a review earlier, but so I don't want to go too far in it. But when you say like tapping your emotions, like I cried, I said that single Indian tear of Black Panther like at least twice, right? Like I was, you know what I'm saying, kind of forever, motherfucker. Right? But like this one, I was choked up like 7-8 times through the whole movie. Flat out, like, so the marathon shit, I feel you, and it wasn't expected. So I mean, I'm still kind of back and forth, but I'm not gonna lie, I think it's a good bootleg copy right now. I'm not saying to go watch it, you know what I'm saying? But but yeah, man, I mean, it's just well done. Now, as far as like the way they built up the characters, I had concerns on how they was gonna pack it in that 3 hours, but they did it,
and
yeah, they wrapped it up.
I mean, they did it. They actually pulled that shit off. Like,
I mean, the way they even introduced it with Hawkeye and his family and connecting it. I mean, I ain't never get like Hawkeye is the one character. Black Widow too. Like when she died, I was like, all right, let's just get through this part. But they even did that well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just I'm still all over the place with it. I should let you said you saw it twice.
I've seen it
So
twice. I'm surprised that you could even put together a review. You saw it this morning. I'm like, damn, like, how did you do that?
man, I ate some Whataburger after I followed the ritual. I took a nap. I prayed about it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We did, and it's not. I mean, we'll probably come back. I don't know, and discuss it again.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But I'm sitting here trying to debate on if that's the best one. Just the way they tied it up, they had an impossible job with it, and just the emotional roller coaster that they brought you on, and then they tied it up with like an epic, entertaining battle at the end. It didn't make you fall asleep half the way through.
right.
I thought they were going to lose me, and then the pace of it was perfect, and it just ramped back up. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, what anything specific? Because this one was more about, Stark and Captain America, less about Thanos whooping everybody ass. Like that whole story, both of those storylines kind of fuck with me. But was anything particular that struck you?
Man, we could actually do the whole episode on this, but that's why I got to be careful.
Oh yeah. My fault, bro.
No, you're good, because I wanted to just bring, because everybody, like, I think the movie's already made, like, I think when I checked it this morning, it had already made like 305 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I think estimated at 345 or something. Yeah.
And so I'm like, yo, they got all day Saturday and all day Sunday. So I just say that to say that people were talking about this. So I think we're good. There were so many things. I think that, first of all, I'm just shocked, man, that Marvel pulled this shit off. Like, that's wild to me. I'm like, because I'm a big DC guy, and like DC is just fucking up left and right.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do nothing right. And
you ain't like Aquaman at all? Shazam?
I haven't seen Shazam.
Shazam was good. Shazam surprised me. My girl didn't like it. My girl was like, I didn't like it, but I was like, for DC movie, it was pretty dope.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet. I'm kind of off DC right now cinematically. But, Aquaman, I tried to walk out of Aquaman. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I tried to bounce. Like, when they came up out of the plane on the beach, or they were in the water or something, and they were like playing Pitbull or some shit, I was like, yo, I gotta go. Like, this is trash. I was like,
all right.
But that's not what we're talking about. I'm just saying I'm off DC. Like, DC's pissed me off. I got DC tattoos on my arm, man. I'm DC. Right?
Oh, okay. So it's like die hard.
I'm like DC for life, man. But
who you got? I know we gonna get there, but who you got? Because I didn't know that.
Oh man, on my arm, I got Batman.
Oh yeah.
I've been Batman since like I was like 10. Batman, Superman, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, Flash. It's like a half sleeve, man. I'll show you sometime.
I've probably seen it and just didn't. I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? But like, I know I'm bugging out. You know how I be.
Yeah.
But okay, I really see your disdain for DC. We ain't even got to get into that.
DC's really hurt my feelings.
They did bad, and especially when Marvel doing shit like this.
When they do shit like this, it just hurts my heart, man. Because the one thing I think Marvel does well, and kind of back to the movie, is first of all, like they know their characters. And they cast really well, and they let them act. And I'm like, they let them do their thing, and like they take their time and they build them up, and the characters, and like especially characters that you wouldn't really think anything about. Like Hawkeye felt like initially like a throwaway character, right? To me, and Black Widow. But I'm like, I think they were kind of like the two that really gave it to us in this movie. Like you said, how it started off with a Hawkeye. Ant-Man, like,
yeah.
I'm like, word?
Power Red did great.
Like, I think that might have been my first teardrop, or when my eyes watered, was when he sees his daughter.
Yep.
And he's just looking at her like, oh my God. Oh, I don't even recognize you.
And see, I think part of it's such a buildup as a comic book fan and an MCU fan and a cinema fan and watching all the movies, being of age, seeing it from the beginning with Tony Stark. Everybody's gonna reference it. So I think that's what gives this movie I don't even want to say some shit. I'm trying some gravitas, if you will. I don't talk like that shit normally. That's in-game shit? But it's like I can think of the other Ant-Man movies, experiences I had with those movies, and to bring it all the way to where he goes to the memorial and sees his name on there, but doesn't see his daughter. Runs to the house, she's there.
Yeah.
That's but and it's filled with moments like that.
Yeah, just moments, just like heart, you know. And the comedy didn't even bother me, man. Like it felt like normal and natural. Like the shit the Hulk, they kind of used the Hulk as comic relief, you know, throughout the movie.
Right, Fat Thor. Alcoholic.
That didn't bother me, man. Like that bothered some people, and I was like, no, man. Like this is the shit I'm talking about. Like this is character building,
bro.
Like this is Marvel doing their thing.
See, I gotta be like, I just did this. Like, I'm telling you, and it's funny. I gotta be careful because I don't want to go too far down that road. But we on the same page. I promise you, flat out.
Yeah,
it's an amazing experience, man. It's a good time to be alive. Once again, it reminds me, I'm just glad to be doing this shit with you. Glad to finally put this thing together, man.
Yeah,
some solid ones, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Let me go ahead and get you introduced. Like, go ahead and let the people know who you are, what you got going on, your podcast.
I mean, yeah. Now, look, it's Todd. I do the skip the tutorial. It's a little video game podcast. We just talk crazy.
It ain't little.
That's about it.
It ain't little.
You know, humble. We got a little tribe. It's real cool. I mean, if you into that kind of stuff and a little bit of foolishness, same platforms you can catch the grip. You know what I'm saying? Podbean, Anchor, iTunes, whatever. Hit us up on Facebook. Skip the tutorial.
Yeah.
Podcast, whatever. But you know, this ain't about that right now. Thank you for the little plug. I appreciate that. Respect and all of that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But it ain't like I don't know who you are in person. You know what I'm saying? You're a solid individual. So, you know, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, man. Let me say one more thing that we can get on with it. I tried to jump. I almost jumped out of my seat when Cap got the hammer.
Oh.
Dog. I was like, no. Which takes me back to Ultron, where I had a theory that he was pretending with the hammer. When they were moving around the table trying to see who could pick it up and he like budged it. I think he was faking.
And I mean, Thor addressed it when he was just like, I knew it. Like, he's worthy, obviously. And I mean, the cool thing is this happened in the comic books. Hopefully it's not too much kickback from the, you know, Captain America choice with Falcon, because that's in the comic books too. I kind of fucked with that storyline a little bit.
Yeah.
At first, that storyline, I was like, Falcon is Captain America. What the fuck? So it kind of forced me to check it out. But when I checked it out, I was like, all right, it's pretty dope. And it's like, I'm not actively reading comic books every day anymore, like I was 16 and no shit like that. Thank God for MCU for all of that. Yeah. But when they did that, I still was kind of like, oh, that shit. It just, they tied up so many loose ends, and whatever little issues are with it is just completely overshadowed by the mastery of how they tied everything together to me.
It's crazy, man. It was nuts, man. It was nuts, man. Kind of I think a nice segue here is going to be Falcon being Captain America. I'm sure there's going to be some unfortunate, pushback on that from some haters out there having a black Captain America. He doesn't even got the super serum. What's he going to do? I'm like, he's going to be a different kind of Cap,
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't read any of those comics where he's Cap. I've seen them, but I haven't read them. And I'm sure that's going to be a thing at some point in time. I don't think it's happening right now because people are just so overwhelmed with the movie. But I think when things die down, I think we're going to see some unfortunate pushback on a black Captain America, like with anything else. All this racial shit, man.
It don't stop, right? It don't stop.
No, No, it don't. So let me see here. How are we going to do this? I got some notes. I didn't even let them know what we're going to be talking about. I think I'm going to name the episode something like interracial relationships.
Get us to the point.
Interracial relationships. What you got? How you doing? What's going on out there, people? And I don't think this got to be exclusive to like black and white. I'm sure there's a variety of interracial relationships going on out there. And the term to me even sounds weird when I think about it. Interracial. That seems to me, and I might sound like an idiot right now, but interracial, I'm like, is that within my own race? What do you mean interracial? Like, am I crossing races? Like, I've never really thought about the term interracial.
Yeah.
That's just my brain doing what it does. Like, wait a minute.
No, that's actually pretty deep. That's
what does that mean?
Low, wait. You know what I'm saying? I'm on a podcast. I make a lot of fart jokes and shit like that. Hold on, let me get my mind right. Because that's philosophically on the level. Hold on. I got my red wine going. Let me slow down real quick. Like, damn, you on some real introspective shit out the gate. Fuck,
like, I don't even know what that means. Like interracial. And I'm sure somebody's listening. Like, Matt, you're an idiot. This is what it means. I just never thought about it. It's like I think we throw terms around so loosely these days. We don't sit and think about what they really mean. I don't really necessarily want to go into that. It's just something that just popped into my head. But I guess
I was full for thought though. You got me want to look up the definition, like interracial.
Hold on, let me just do that right now. Hold on, I got Google.
Yeah.
Let me just pull up my internets. Interracial. It's just a weird term to me for some reason. Interracial couples. No, I just want interracial. The first thing is a white woman and a black dude. That's fine.
Right.
That's the first thing that pops up in the images.
X, red X.
Right. No. Existing between or involving different races. Okay. Existing between or involving different races. Interracial. All right. What are the percentage of interracial marriages? I don't even know if this is accurate. I'm not going to read these numbers because I can't verify them. So for the listeners, they know I'm in interracial marriage, and you, my friend, are in an interracial relationship. Is it correct?
Correct.
And I am with what you would call a Caucasian woman.
As am I, sir.
And I really actually don't even like saying the term white because on other podcasts we talk about that where it's like white's an invention. It's not even a real thing. I mean, it is a real thing, but it's not a real thing. Like, no, actually, what is your background? Are you German? What part of Europe are you from? You know what I mean? It's just when you say white, it's just so broad, and I think it adds to the whole white supremacy monster that exists out there, and it's so subtle. It's powerful, and we just use these terms every day. So I try to make an effort to break that down every time it comes up, and people are like, "Matt, you're doing too much." And I'm like, "Am I?"
Nah, I mean, I can dig it though, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I mean, it absolutely is a construct in my opinion, just based on, in ancient times history, it wasn't like color; it was where you were from, things of that nature. So,
right,
but it is what it is too. I think people are just like, okay, I want to live my life. Because if you really think about just the setup too much, it almost can be crippling and even more, difficult to even get through the day. Yeah. So, but I think you do have to, if you don't address it, if you don't look at it, if you don't go to them uncomfortable places, if you don't have those uncomfortable conversations, if you don't try to unlearn and relearn and step out of your box, evolve at some point.
Yeah.
Then, you just adding on to the cycle, in my humble opinion. You know what I'm saying? So, I applaud a motherfucker that's going to look at it and be like, okay, yeah, I need to second guess that. I think that's the right way to look at it.
Yeah.
I hate to bring this is like such a fucking cliche.
No, go ahead.
Example, but it's just like, did you think all the Germans in the Third Reich thought they were doing the wrong shit? Like, nah, they didn't think they was doing the wrong shit. I prefaced this before, we were talking about voting. And I hate to be brutally honest about the shit, but it's just like I never voted. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. I'm part of. I don't want to say ashamed because I'm not ashamed, but it's like, it's definitely not something I'm proud of. You know what I'm saying? But I'm off a side note. This is one of those things that came up to where it was just like, as far as the overall systematic shit, I'm not really concerned about it. And when I'm still in a country where Kim Jong-un can say that there are more people locked up per capita in your country than mine, and you're gonna call me a tyrant. And I mean, we're in the 2019s and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
It,
interesting.
um. So I just go back to, and I this is something I referenced before we talked about. It was just one of those things where it's like still of mine. Maybe I will vote one day. I need to vote. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But when it comes to politics, I'm real kind of Noam Chomsky a little bit more side of whatever, like not true anarchist, but just as far as understanding the philosophy politically,
Mm-hmm.
that this isn't a democracy, that it's an oligarchy, and the best option sometimes is to kind of have your own build a tribe within yourself. Make sure that you're circling your money within your own community and try to solidify things around that as a base.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, don't let me get too far off balance and off the road, man. I'll start talking, forget where the fuck I was at.
Do you kind of not have faith in the system? I mean, obviously the system is corrupt. Do you think voting is rigged?
I think the whole system overall is rigged,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's on autopilot. Now, I know my brother Sasquatch, Mr. John Hammond. Shout out to the ugly people. I know you had him on the show.
Yeah.
I know he'll be like, nigga, just calm down right now. Probably. Like, I don't know, because I feel him. Like, the flip side is, I mean, the flip way to look at it is, okay, there's no way to show any political power if you don't use the vote. So I would never discourage people from voting,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just never forgetting like the underlying if you can't even fuck with your own people in a healthy way and have a healthy conversation, if we can't address our own local issues. I hate to bring up Nipsey Hussle because I'm not clout chasing. It's just a relevant point. I really fuck with him and shit like that. Like, perfect example though. When in our own culture we having them problems and we not figuring out ways to rectify that shit and build that up and try to avoid these situations and learn from them correctly, like we need to be continuously vigilant on those things, even just as aspects between each other, like black men, like what we trying to do right now. You know what I'm saying? And talking shit out. Like the conversation with the interracial relationship, when you brought it up, I was like, man, look, man, I'll be comfortable with it. It'll probably be therapeutic. I think brothers need to do shit like this more, and not just this type of shit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But to go back as far as the system being rigged, I mean, like I said, it's never been a democracy. If you just look at it, it's never been pure, and it's impossible at this point in a lot of ways. I think the best thing we can do is continue to try to focus on, and this came up on Speak Between the Lines with Rez and all of them. So, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm kind of just referencing that. But, local voting is more important, things that'll shift your schooling and stuff like that, and just governmental programs locally, and really just fucking with each other the best way we can, trying to build our own, financial stability and circulate our money in communities like the Chinese do, Jewish people do, other people do. You know what I'm saying? But most cultures even people from Mexico, most cultures have a little bit of strength. Chinese culture, they have a little bit more strength than African American culture. Per Dr. Umar, every now and then I used to listen to that nigga. I don't agree with everything he say, but he said some real shit as far as like, they have countries to back them totally. So they can go back to a country if it's a problem. The American, like African American nigga, male nigga, he like that connection from Africa that truly was severed.
Mm-hmm.
It isolates us in a way. So we got to figure out a way to kind of combat that shit.
Okay. Yeah. For my own curiosity, I heard you just mentioned like we need more local voting more so than I think what you're saying on a national stage. Is that something you think would contribute to solving problems like you said, school board, local, I don't know, municipalities or whatever you call them, and police chiefs and all that?
Absolutely. Nail.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're gonna get to another conversation. We don't watch it.
Right. No, I didn't. I told you, man. You gotta rein me in sometimes, man. I'll get to rambling.
Okay. So I think one of the things I think I might want to do real quick is kind of names some of the stereotypes that I think we'll kind of keep it to black and white like black men, white women, because that's our situation.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the stereotypes, like some of the things that come off the top of my head are house nigga, Uncle Tom, sellout. These are some like the immediate things that come to my mind, and some of the battles I've faced. Can you think of anything else that kind of comes to your mind when you think of stereotypes, that are kind of a stigma of black men with white women?
I mean, as far as the general ones, you hit the nail on the head. But as far as man, 6 months into this relationship, me and my girl been together for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
6 months into it though, I was still cruising around Facebook, and if I caught a nigga with a white woman, I was looking at him like, like nigga, I'm in a relationship with a white woman right now. Like it's so ingrained into me, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit, right? Like it wasn't like I out loud said something. It's just a feeling I got, right?
Yeah.
I'm probably still dealing with that a little bit to a degree, but it's nothing like the first few months for me because I'm older. And I'm a product of my own brainwashing on top of the box that I grew up in, man. I'm from the South Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Like, my people pretty cool about that, like everybody shit, because I come from a lot of people and everything else. And I mean, the house nigga thing, that comes from within my own people before I had to do anything with a white woman or dealing with a white girl. That was, I'm grown. You know what I'm saying? I've been married the whole nine. I done fell back. That light skin shit came from birth.
Yeah.
And that house nigga shit came from birth within my own people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mulatto.
that's another thing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, like, so that, like, and I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I look at it like I'm more red. But, my grandmother, straight hair, my aunties was twins. One had green eyes, one had blue eyes, you know what I'm saying? And if you know the history of that, that's black people that was bred for prostitution in the South. You know what I'm saying? It's that whole line down there. You know what I mean? That light skin shit. And then they, you pit us against each other, and it's continuous, systematic, and automatic. So as far as that, like some of those things hit home just off that alone. So then fast forward, doubling up on top of being in a relationship, that can get heavy, I guess.
Yeah. And let me see if I can do this for listeners who aren't as familiar with what we're talking about. Like the overall, I think, or kind of the overarching thinking, as far as I see it, I won't put words in your mouth, is black people look at other black people dating outside of their race as like almost a potential traitor. And that's due to all the all the fuckery that's involved with selling this out to, I don't know, man. It could be anything, man. Like white cops back in the day. It could be their boss. Like it's just a number of things that, like, we can't even trust our own people. I guess is what I'm trying to boil it down to. We don't know who we can trust because, there are throughout history, obvious opportunists and black people who will sell us out, to white people and white supremacists. So that fear is real, and I understand completely why I get looked at that way. You know what I mean? I know what's behind that. And it's just real unfortunate because it's so ingrained in society, and I don't know how we overcome that. I think it's obviously something that's still happening, but just to give the listeners just a little bit more understanding, if you're not familiar with this topic, that's kind of the battle. That's how I see it. I mean, like I said, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Todd.
No, I'm with you. I do think there's hope. I think we've had less time collectively at this whole thing together or working on it than we give ourselves credit for, even though it feels like forever and it can feel kind of hopeless. But I mean, just looking within myself, and part of that in a weird way with the relationship that I'm in, knowing that I could even go as far to step out of the box to give this situation a chance, just on some trying to be healthy type shit and evolving type shit. Then, I mean, growing from that, like anybody can kind of change. I guess it's not that deep, you know what I'm saying? But like, when I struggle with stuff like that, I'm like, well, shit, if I could change, then you could change. Like, this is about to turn into a fucking Rocky
Is it
episode.
Rocky what?
Then
Rocky
we can
4?
all could change, right?
Everybody can change.
But I do and struggle with it though. It's real because it's kind of hypocritical too. Like, I went off on this tirade of us and black people circulating the dollar within our community and shit like that. And one of the solid arguments against interracial relationship, marriage, procreating with outside of your race and not with a black woman, and specifically has a lot to do with financial situations in the black family and the stability and how that was broken up, and kind of partially perpetuating unhealthy things that's in our culture. Unhealthy things are in everybody's culture, but we got to address the shit between, black men, black women, and we ain't got to go all the way because we can talk about that shit for days, but I don't know, like that's where it's hypocritical as fuck because I'm just like, yeah, we need to rotate this money, but at the same time, but yeah, I'm trying to be happy before I die. So if you're just a solid person, I don't give a fuck what color you are, because I done been stabbed, burnt, shot, been on like all the above, fucking with whoever. So I'm older now, and I just want to settle down with whoever healthy for me. Take a day at a time, whatever's good for me, and that's how my situation came up.
Yeah, that's a nice segue because the next kind of question I had, and I can put myself on blast here, is are you comfortable talking about your dating history? Like, is this the first white woman you've ever dated?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm for sure. And not only that, caveat, it was the two things, like before me and her started dating, I just got to the point like I was trying to be on some real Zen shit, some real meditative shit. Like, if I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life, I gotta find happiness in being all right with my goddamn self. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, cause I'm just trying to be okay. And keep in mind, like, I'm watching one of my close friends. I hate to reference this shit, but fuck it. Like, I'm watching one of my close friends deal with stage 4 terminal cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And God rest his soul. He passed away on May 13th. You know what I'm talking about? R.I.P. Flint. But like, I watched some unhealthy things as far as just his surrounding environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you reevaluate. It was just made me reevaluate everything. And I think, it's healthy to kind of do that shit in general, as far as like what I'm willing to put up just because of a box that I grew up in. So not necessarily keeping black women away from me, but opening myself up to just people in general.
Yeah. My dating history is all over the map. I didn't discriminate against anything. I make this joke a lot, and this is fucked up, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I say I discriminate against one thing, and that's ugly. That's not true now, obviously. That was something I said when I was like a kid or like a teenager in my early 20s. So I dated everything. I dated, chocolate, like dark women. I've dated Indian, Chinese, Hispanic, mixed, white, all across the board. Now, I'll be honest though, like my wife is actually the first serious relationship I've ever had with a white woman.
Got you. Now, I didn't know if you just talking about fucking, because I didn't fuck some other people. I didn't live the real. Sorry. No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good. Like, so, like, I think I've had 3 solid relationships my whole life. Hold on a second, Mom. I got another call coming here. I'm trying to get this off my phone. I've dated, like, my first girlfriend, black woman. Second girlfriend was mixed. I think she was like she was it Indian and Italian. And then my wife. So those like the 3 solid relationships. But in between all that, I was dating all across the board. And it didn't really mean anything to me. I've said on another podcast though, and you can tell me if you've ever heard anything like this. I was on another one talking about, we had this dumbass saying, when we were in high school, and it was if they ain't light or white, they ain't right. And
Hold on, say that again. If you would.
if they ain't light or white, they ain't right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so I didn't believe that, but I supported that and repeated it because that's what all my black friends was saying.
Mm.
And I was just wanting, you're a kid and you just want to fit in and, whatever. Because like I would say that and then I would be on a date with a real dark black girl, so
Right.
I was just saying what I said because it was what you did. But saying all that to say, I just dated all across the board. The situation I'm in now happened to me just because it happened. And I'm sure we can get into that here in a moment. But I just kind of want to see if we could talk about our dating history for a second.
Yeah.
Like you said, you was doing some other things.
No, go ahead.
No, I said you was doing some other things. You said.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I went through the whole spectrum. Like I said, I'm from South Louisiana.
Yeah.
So it was just like at one point, that like I think that's a part of the same thing. The flip side of, oh, he light skinned, that's a house nigga, dark skinned, that's a field nigga mentality. Which there's some depth to that. There's some realities we got to deal with that, but it's also a little bit blown up. But at a young age, you know how it is as a man or a young boy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we do, right? So it was just like shit. I was like, man, I'm not fucking with nothing but light skins. I'm gonna get a light skin here. I'm gonna get a light skin now. I'm gonna blah blah blah. And I mean, a couple of white girls. It was real solid. That was cool. Well, one. You know what I'm saying? And then it just, I worked myself all the way. It was all, dark skinned women, the whole nine, whatever, just beautiful black women. And then, but see, then I'm kind of warped. Like, I don't know if we need to get into that conversation today, you know what I'm saying? But it's a big chunk of life, you know what I'm saying? Where it comes to just survival and looking at people and human beings on a most animalistic level. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with females and in general. So I look at relationships in general with just human beings, like in general with male and female shit, a little bit probably different. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily healthy overall. So some of my journey just has to deal with like breaking that shit down too. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, people is people and all that, you know what I'm saying? But you also got to be willing to look yourself in the mirror with every choice you make and stand on it and the reason and why. I just never saw it happening for me. You know what I mean? But it's little shit like I don't have no kids, so I wasn't really tripping off of somebody that has kids. Motherfuckers, my biggest thing is my girl being so much younger than me. That was my biggest concern too. And that's still a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Everything, it's not like all of a sudden, okay, I think before I started being in an interracial relationship, I had these certain expectations of what I thought it would be, on how much different it is, and a lot of things just show me how much the same a lot of shit is. The different thing, but the different things are like extremely magnified for me personally. Is there anything like that with you, or is it not really so much that way because you kind of more used to navigating it?
It's like, it's pretty much like you said. People are people. We're all pretty similar, kind of on the base level. Like we're all dealing with emotions and similar emotions. Obviously you get a different set, or you get more compounded on that, your emotions, like with black people. So we're all dealing with shit, but we're all dealing with different shit. Black people are collectively dealing with a set of things, and white people are collectively dealing with other issues. But I hate to say it like this, but black people are dealing with a lot more. Well, I don't want to get in trouble here. Because like it's tricky because, black people collectively speaking we know what we're dealing with, right? To just be alive and survive. But I'm not trying to take anything away from a white person who is dealing with a family member who has cancer or some shit. You know what I mean? Like everybody's dealing with stuff.
No, I feel you. Like, no, okay, so I feel you, but I think you're just factually correct on that. It's not like you can't be the victor and the victim. You can't claim on one side that you're superior, and then on the other side say that you victims of the people that you're superior of. Just being, extra. And that's one thing like I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? It don't. I mean, we still growing and everything else like that. But it's just like one thing about my girl is like she just innately kind of understands base human being shit like that. You know what I mean? We both come from our boxes, and it can be interesting sometimes. But like she is real aware of like, like hey, privilege and shit like that. Like simple things. Not to say that her pain doesn't matter. It's just it's not a pain competition. Just factually look what the fuck what we go through mentally and how that on a day-to-day basis just shows up physically, and the reason is why. Like it's just a different experience, and it's okay. We can learn from each other.
Right.
But I think that's where a lot of the fear comes from. Like hey, they're coming to take our shit because they know they know what time it is. They know what kind of shit that we have to go through.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my next thing is I was going to say, and I already know the answer to this, I guess, but is your lady woke, if you will? I kind of hate that word, for being honest.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that today, bro. We talked with because it's like a movement now on this. It's a guy that I listen to, and I'm not gonna reference his name. He's got a YouTube, got a pretty big following, like 500,000 people. Yeah. And his like go-to for everything is like get woke, go broke or some shit. SJWs or woe mans and shit. And it's just like at first I could deal with it in a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? But it kind of hit home on a particular subject for me. I was like, God damn, cuz I'm not afraid to listen to somebody that's got a different perspective than me. Period. Like we can, as long as there's a level of respect, we can sit here and try to come to agreement, or we could agree to disagree and respectfully shake hands and walk away. But certain shit just go too far. They didn't took a good thing, and that's historically seems like a thing. Like black people try to communicate through their music, which is another thing I dug about my girl, which I was kind of surprising. Like she's 12 years younger than me, but she favorite group is like Tribe Called Quest and Tupac and shit. Like, I don't even listen to Tribe Called Quest like that and Biggie. So I'm like, okay, well maybe she could translate a little bit of shit. Yeah. It ain't gonna be the same, and she accept that, but maybe she could translate a little bit of shit. But back to the woke shit is just like I had to go back and listen to the Childish Gambino song, like man, because this is just a beautiful song about some shit, and then it's been turned on its head to make it to be something that it's not. Same thing that happened with Black Lives Matter. Same thing that's happened historically throughout this country. Like I said, we got a long way to go. You know what I mean? And I'm not the best person to speak on a lot of, like I didn't went off on tirades and shit. Well, I didn't already acknowledge. I'm clearly hypocritical. At the end of the day, I'm living by the number one rule of the jungle, which is survival and making sure that I'm straight, my family's straight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, like, it's just sad how that gets reversed on the head and turned on itself, like to where we don't even feel comfortable with some shit that we should have some ownership on collectively.
Yeah.
And not, not have things struck down monetarily because of it. But that's what it looks like it's going now. But yes, anyway, I didn't mean the woke.
No, you're right. Yeah, and I kind of talked about a little bit in other podcasts where that process for my wife and me was a real daunting one. Like it took years because she comes from a real secluded white area in rural Ohio. And with that being said, she personally never had an issue with black people. Never thought anything abnormal or awkward about them. She had black Cabbage Patch Kids, right? Growing up because she watched the Cosby Show. And so she kind of like had what you were saying, that basic human element, like people are people, humans are humans, And it wasn't until she got older where she started to kind of see some of the inconsistencies in how we're treated and how white people are treated. And when she got with me, that shit hit like rapid fire, high speed. Like things got real quick because we would have a lot of healthy discussions about certain things. And that could be something like, hey, Matt, are you kind of maybe overreacting, or is this as really bad as you say it is? And I can't remember what it was that kind of flipped the switch for her. I think it was it might have been Trayvon Martin. Or was it maybe it's Tamir Rice? It was one of the real young ones, man. I think Tamir Rice was the kid in Cleveland that got shot right in the park.
Yeah, but I shit you not. Right before you call, shout out to Nipsey again. I was listening to 50 Niggas by Nipsey. You heard that song where he talking about, that shit. So and my old lady was just talking about Zimmerman right before you hit me up too. She was just like saying something like she saw an article. I didn't fact check this. I'm just going off the conversation. She said she saw an article where that nigga was being weird and creating fake dating sites and stuff like that and getting shut out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, I was just like, see, that's a motherfucker that need to get killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the person in reference to in the midst of me listening to Nipsey getting ready for your call or whatever shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I say. Like, that's not to say that anybody just, the whole murder shit, that's just how it go or whatever. I don't condone that per se, but it's just hard to see in our own community something like that happen where this nigga walking around free. But where even my girl is just looking at it like just on a human being level. You know what I'm saying? Because Trayvon, I think, hit everybody hard. It's been too many niggas to name.
Yeah, it's when that song was Story of OJ came out.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, because I've been fighting this fight personally for years, where it's been like, because I come from middle class America, white neighborhood. And so for years, I don't do this shit anymore, but I've always been kind of fighting to prove I'm black. And I cut that shit out years ago. But there was a low period in my life where I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm black. Like, what is the problem here? And I like I said, I understand where all that comes from. But it was fucked up because when I would talk about it, I would say, look, man, and this is the shit I still deal with me and my wife. I'm like, I'm getting racism from white
Both
people
sides.
and my people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tough spot to be in. And I'd never really learned to navigate that until I stopped trying to navigate it.
Right. Right.
Right. And so back to with Jay-Z, that story, that was like recently, right? That was like what, a couple years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, about 2 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like house nigga, faux nigga, I can't remember all the lyrics. Rich nigga, po nigga. I was like, yes.
Still nigga.
Yes. Yes.
Still
and I'm
nigga.
like, I love that Jay-Z said, I'm like, yes.
Man, salute to Jay-Z for the
Right.
culture. And I mean, see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I get that. Like, okay, perfect example. Every man should have his choice. Like, Jay-Z is somebody I'm not fearful to say look up to, but I mean, I personally admire that nigga's story. He's of our era.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he made it through, and I mean, Beyonce just donated a lot of money to the old school that I went to at Grambling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't finish. I almost finished. You know what I'm saying? But I learned a lot there. So, and just watching what they do with that. So it's dope to hear, you know what I'm saying? Because you like bringing that back. That's real. You still a nigga at the end of the motherfucking day.
Right. And so like, bringing back to Trayvon, he was a light-skinned, good-looking black kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look like those stereotypes they perpetuate on TV, those, you know what they do, man. Like, shit, like Menace to Society or whatever. Like, oh yeah, like they animals. Like this kid looked like your next door neighbor. He's just a little wholesome black kid.
I mean, that's what he looked like to us.
Yeah, to us. You're right.
Like it's clear as day. It's clear as day. Like he's not Poochie Loke from down the street that everybody wants to get killed. See, look, I moved 11 times before I was 11 type of thing. Not all all around, but that type of situation, Lafayette, Louisiana, South Cajun nigga, but like I didn't have it the worst, but I mean shit, I didn't have it the best either. It's like you don't realize how poor you are until you get older type shit. But I also had a mother, you know, the old cliche, I had a praying mama, but it's real, you know what I'm saying? That made sure, like I went to a private school, so I stayed in Lafayette. I went to school in Opelousas. It's like a 30-minute drive. And I went to Westminster Christian Academy. That's where it's kind of like a magnet school. I played basketball, like whatever and shit like that. So even though I stayed, sort of on the north side of Lafayette, Martin Luther King Street, everybody Martin Luther King Street, I went to school 30 minutes away at Westminster. So your experience as far as like, I didn't kind of quite grow up middle class, but I was exposed to a little smidges of wealth and a few rich people and just well-to-do people, right? So I was able to see some shit that some of my people weren't able to see. You know what I'm saying? And in some ways that actually garnered, I don't want to say more anger or disdain, but more standoffishness for a long time where I'm like, I can't ever see myself actually being with a white woman.
Right. So, adding that shit to, like I said, growing up in middle class America and always feeling like I had to prove myself to my own brothers and sisters, was terrible. And I hated it, and it made me just feel awful on the inside. And like I said, I felt better after I stopped trying to navigate that. And I'll occasionally, I don't want to say pop off because that's not my demeanor, but I'll get upset about somebody saying something stupid to me. And I don't know if I want to get too far ahead of myself here, but like, for example, I got into it with this one lady one time who, I don't know what we were talking about exactly, but she basically said, "Oh, you got away with what you got away with." And when I mean got away with, like, I had said something stupid or whatever, to my wife, and I can't remember what it was, but she was like, "Well, the only reason you got away with that was because your wife is white. She's a pushover. That's how all white women are." And I was like, word? Okay, let's talk about what you just said. And it was a whole thing, and I broke it down on the real basic level. And this is how stupid this shit is to me. I was like, okay, first of all, have you ever met my wife? No. Okay, so how can you sit here and tell me who she is? Right? That's let's start the conversation there. That you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, you have never met her, so how are you gonna tell me what kind of person she is? And assuming, collectively a group of people are one way, to me, I'm like, you're doing the same shit that the racists do to us. Right? You're doing it to them, to the white people. And trust me, I'm not sitting here trying to champion, white.
Yeah, no, I feel
white rights, if you will. I'm like, white people are doing fine. Okay.
Like,
but
these white men out here just getting abused.
I'm talking about my wife.
Yeah.
Just her. And that pissed me off. So there's situations like that where I get upset. But generally speaking, I don't typically get upset with that now. And it seems like we're in a place now in society and culture where it's it feels to me like, yo, are you an ally or not?
That's the key.
And if it's like, you an ally, come on in. Let's get it.
That's the key. That's the key. To me, I mean, at this point, you know what I'm saying? And see, my thing is, man, at the end of the day in this life, man, I'm gonna just play it how it go, to just break it down simply. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I know the previous relationship, this is just how it went for me prior to this relationship. Because first off, I was single for like 5 years, struggling in my little apartment on some Rambo shit. Because, I don't even need much where I come from. Moving to Texas, I'm just thankful to have a little shit that I got and dig myself out the hole. And I tried relationships here and there. You know what I'm saying? I stepped out the box and did some shit just out of character to try to be different and continue to try to heal from my previous, separation. The woman I had been with before that was like a decade. And really, you know what I'm saying? That was just on some whole other crazy shit.
Yeah.
You feel me? It was solid, like on the friendship level. But as far as like healthy relationship shit, I think we was just too young. And it was one of them things where it's just, I don't know, just playing the game, breaking all the rules and shit like that. And it really wasn't meant to be that. You know what I'm saying? But I learned a lot. But as I so from all of that, I was like, I moved into this spot here, started my new life. And my dad don't always give me good advice, but he was like, man, just fall back, focus on your bread. Don't worry about chasing no women. Get yourself right in your own, space. Focus on your plan and work your plan. Mm-hmm. Don't just try to jump into a relationship or a situation. So for a 5-year span, it wasn't like I wasn't trying to date, but I wasn't tripping about dating. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, okay, let's just be open to whatever. Not whatever, you know what I mean? But try different circumstances just within my own race. As usual, I wasn't even thinking about being with no white woman.
Right.
So coming from all those experiences, looking at what some of my people was going through, looking at a big reason why they're going through it on both ends has a lot less to do with themselves and a lot more to do with just a cycle that we continue to repeat. And I'm repeating a different kind of cycle. So it's not coming from a judgmental error. It's just what I'm able to live with, how my life's structured. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like, not to play myself as the victim, because I'm not the victim. I played the role. Like the very last relationship I was in, you couldn't have got no darker of a woman. And it's beauty in that, like ancient beauty in that, like Egyptian culture, that's woman is God beauty for real, or cavemen, and the reason why they believe that. I get that. The melanin, I understand the worth. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it's a situation where, okay, I'm looking at it not to toot my own horn at all, right? But I'm like, I'm not the worst nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the most attractive. That ain't all that. It ain't about that. But I'm a good-hearted nigga, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna tell you the truth out the gate. You know what I'm saying? She had a smart, intelligent, beautiful son. I generally don't try to play that role because I was always fearful of the baby daddy situation. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So, but still, whatever. Young man was beautiful. His father was locked up. I felt some type of way for the kid. He was a solid nigga. So I said, okay, I'm not really necessarily comfortable for that. But if I'm gonna deal with her, then I'm gonna deal with him, and it's gonna be solid. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It also had to do the tie-in with one of my friends, and it could have been, I thought, a healthy situation. Long story short, or longer, just to end it off, the way that shit ended off just factually. Now, whatever fucked up shit I did, whatever fucked up shit that was done, factually, it was an option that was laid out. I was like, all right, look, I know you got your situation where you at, but my job right now, I make a little bit more money. If you want to move in together or whatever else like that, then we can move in together, but you got to come on my side because my car situation kind of fucked up and I need to be closer to my gig or whatever else. Everything was cool, but it was like, nah, I don't want to do that. That's not a move I want to make. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm going to do, I need to get my own spot. Now you could come stay out with me, and we could work it out that way. I was like, well, it's just farther. I don't know if that's going to work out, but it's a choice. It's up to you. The option is open to you if you want to take it. You know what I'm saying? That turned into, she decided to get a apartment under her baby daddy who was in jail's father and move into an apartment there. Mm-hmm. And drop off the map for like 2 weeks. Not answering the phone and shit like that. For a nigga that she said that she wasn't fucking with, that wasn't nothing, wasn't doing right, kind of to suck me into the relationship, just the same person that you want to tie in with. You know what I'm saying? That's your choice. I can't make you not do that. I can only offer that to you. I can't make you, whatever. And I've run into a series of situations like that. And I don't think that's necessarily a color thing. I think that's just a healthy versus unhealthy situation. Mm-hmm. So that basically fizzled out. And at that point, I was like, all right, I give up. Because I don't know what's wrong with me. I thought I was solid, but clearly I ain't. What am I missing? Whoop. And then on some randomness of all random shit, a coworker that you probably know that I won't name was just like, I got the perfect person for you. Right? Right. I at that point, like, I was like really, really by myself for like a couple of months. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? At that point, like I wasn't chasing nothing out no more. And I was like, whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's nothing. We're gonna eat some pizza and do what we do, and it's gonna fade out. And She was just like, well, I'm gonna give her a number and invite her over. And, we hung out. And literally, we've been together ever since. Like, it's not some shit that I planned. You dig? It just played out that way, and I'm trying to grow from it. I really hate that I went so long-winded, but I felt like,
it's
just to give a proper introduction on how I was introduced to this whole situation.
it's good because it plays it kind of gets into this point. I don't even know if it's a point I want to make, other than it's just something I just like want to talk about, because race is extremely important. And like I said, collectively, Black people, we deal with what we deal with, right? But it's like, how do you balance that with, like you were saying, what's personally good for you? And so you just explained kind of your journey into how you got to your current situation. That's healthy for you. Okay. But in the overall narrative, it's like when you get with your people, they still gonna kind of feel a kind of a way about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
it's like
the
it's
ones
weird.
that ain't enlightened, yeah.
The ones that are not enlightened, exactly.
Or not enlightened. That's you know what I'm saying. Or
open.
Like my real friends that's been with me, that know me, are like, they support me 1,000% because they know what I done been through, and they just want to see me happy and with somebody that give a fuck about me, and that's able to deal with my crazy ass. Period.
Yeah.
Other ones, fuck them.
Yeah, and so like with me, I always had an idea in my head, and we kind of talked about this off air, where I was like, I'm gonna marry this beautiful Black woman. We're gonna have these children. I just had this idea in my head of what it was gonna be. And I also had an idea, like, I'm gonna date this, like, popular, like, it girl, because that was kind of the route I was on. And I was dating that girl. You know who she is. Just generally speaking, like, where are the cool spots? What's happening? Are we going to that place? Like, I can't keep up with that. And that had always made me unhappy, whether it was Black or white or whatever it was, Hispanic. Like, it was the same kind of mentality. And I'm like, this kind of woman is bad for me. Right?
Right. Never trust a big button smile. That girl is poison. Shit.
I'm like, this woman, I'm dating the same woman no matter what race. It's the same woman.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm always like unhappy when like I'm in the relationship or dating or whatever it was. Not full-fledged relationship. So like, here come my wife at the time, and I think I've talked about this briefly in another podcast, where like we're from Ohio, and we both worked at the same job, and I'm a real social guy, so I talk to a lot of people, and she was the one woman in the building that wouldn't talk to me. And she's tall, and she's probably like, I don't know, like 5'10" or 5'11". And she wears heels sometimes, right? So what does that make her? Like 6 foot.
Shit.
Like, okay, and she's walking around, and she always had this like this slow stroll about her, and it would piss me the fuck off. I'm like, who is this woman that won't talk to me? And she wasn't being the popular, like, she just was to herself. And she had like 2 people that she talked to. Drove me nuts. And this will kind of get into our comic book shit actually here in a second, because the last straw for me was I seen her walking down the hall one day with a Batman shirt on. And I was like, oh, hell no. You're not going to disrespect my man like that. I had never said a word to this woman in my life. I pulled her aside. I was like, excuse me, I'm sorry. And this was before like Batman was popular like he is now. I can't remember what year this was. And I was like, excuse me, miss, are you just wearing a Batman shirt because you think it's cute? Or like, are you really down with my man?
Yeah.
I want to say an hour later, we're talking about how Batman gets the damn makeup on his eyes when he puts the hood on. Because if you think about Batman, wherever he has the hood on or his cowl, he's got the eye sockets, right? But if you look at his eyes, he's always got black makeup on his eyes. And when he takes off the cowl, the makeup's gone. And we're like, yo, when does he put that on? This is the conversation I'm having with this woman. I'm like, this is crazy. I ain't never talked to anybody this way. Or no woman, at least.
Yeah. But that's cool. But see, that's cool, though.
And
especially like when it's not like it's just you connect on certain shit. You just got common interests.
Yeah, and she was like I said, she wasn't the it girl. She wasn't like about the popular scene and all that.
Right.
When we first met, we was just friends. She was my best friend for the longest time. We was just cool, and where I fucked up in that part of our friendship was like I was still dating other women while me and her were friends. So I would tell her everything I was doing.
So she know. She
know everything about me.
Yeah.
And then, like, over some time, me and her started messing around with each other, and then, this happened. But one of the biggest struggles I had was, I was like, I can't marry a white woman. I was like, I can't do this.
Right.
I was like, my life is already hard enough as it is.
Right.
Me being from middle class America, they already think I'm something that I'm not. This is just going to make it worse. And I'm worried about all these things that are outside of me. I'm not worrying about what I need. And I talked to my mom about this for a minute, and she was like, thank God for my mom. She's like, you got to do what's good for you. I think this is the one. All that other, all that conversation and tell me what I'm supposed and what I need to be hearing. And I pulled the trigger on that shit, man. And I think we've been together maybe like 8-9 years now.
Man, congratulations on that, man.
Married for 4. So it's like I got something real, and it's insane to me that I could have missed out on this because of my race issues.
Right.
I'm happier than a motherfucker right now. Like I'm like we still talk to each other.
Just mad. Like why don't nobody want to? And it's just. But I mean, do you think? I think I think that's a thing that can happen regardless of race or gender.
Absolutely.
Think, like females let good dudes go by, dudes let good females go by for shit, like for trivial shit, or not trivial shit, but for things where, I mean, you got to live your life and be true to who you are in order to be true to anybody else. Yeah. Period. You know what I'm saying? And if you sitting there not letting good people in, I mean, even if, and everybody ain't forever. I pray to God like it's forever. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna take it day to day. But why would you even kick people out that's supposed to be good in your life for a season, just where you can help each other grow? You know what I'm saying? To where it's a positive situation when you leave each other, or you never really leave each other, however it is. But it's got to be, I think, a base of that. So yeah, man. Now that's you probably could have a whole conversation on people making it past 2 years of marriage.
Yeah, it's madness to me when I hear people talk about things like I have a type, or because I say this all the time. People go after what they want, not what they need. I say that all the time, and that's not just dating. That's everything in life. I think people go after what they want, not what they need, and that's a hard pill to swallow because what you need ain't what you're looking for most of the time, and that shit will present itself to you, and then I think once it does, whatever that might be, it's up to you to decide what you want to do with it. I think we all get the opportunity for happiness, if you will. And when I say happiness, I don't mean like you're laughing and chuckling and having a ball each day. I mean content and at peace, with yourself and your situation. And so I say this stuff to like friends of mine and family, where I'm like, whether they're looking to get into relationships or whatever it might be, I'm like, just be open. Like, just be open. Just be open. Because, like, these ideas that we have about what our life's supposed to be and what we're supposed to get out of it, I don't think we're intelligent enough and smart enough to really know what that is. I do trust God, if you will, to deliver it to us or present it to us. Then we have to make a decision on what to do with it.
Right.
And
Right.
so I see that a lot in society. Like I can't tell you, this is a thing I see a lot, and I don't know why. This is kind of funny to me. It really isn't funny. But I see a lot of white women that pass up on black dudes or Hispanic dudes that they like. I've seen black women pass up on white dudes, for all the reasons I was talking about in my life. That's not what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be with this kind of person. I don't want these kind of questions from my family and my friends. I don't want that trauma. I don't want that drama. I'm
Man,
like,
I think when you hit on something before you pass that up, just before, I think I just want the same. Now that I'm kind of in it, I think I just want the equal amount of disdain that black women have for black men with white women as they do for black women with white men. Just keep it even. I don't know if it is, but
well,
hopefully,
no, because like I said, when I Googled interracial relationship, the first thing that popped up was a white woman, black dude.
all right.
I can't. I'm seeing more of it the other way. Like I've seen more of it now than I ever have in my life, where I see a white dude with a black woman. And I don't want. I won't get into that. I'll just gonna leave
Yeah. That's dangerous. I told you I've been sipping wine, but I do. But it kind of it's. But like, and it actually comes from a recent conversation I was having with a couple of coworkers, females or whatever. We was talking about it. I was talking about coming on the show or whatever, and that's something that they brought up. An actual female that was next to me brought it up. I was like, oh, okay, damn. I'm gonna bring that up on the show. Let me put some notebooks down. I should have wrote some notes, but that's where that comes from, though. But yeah, you're right. We don't need to go down that road. Shit.
Yeah. It's just funny, man, because I was talking with my previous co-host that this battle that we're fighting, if you will, with racism in the world, like we can't all attack this from the same position. I'm like, if we're going to defeat this thing, we got to come at it from all kind of angles. We all can't be Malcolm X. We all can't be King. We all can't be Farrakhan.
Yeah.
We all, like, in order for this to work, we got to hit it from all angles. And that's how I like to think about it, because like I'll have a lot of black people say to me, I don't want to march. I'm like, you don't have to. What can you do? What do you like? What's
Right.
available to you in your life?
Right.
Do you have white friends? Do you have like what? Because I'm like, people always kind of think in my head, to me, it's like I got to do this grand thing. I'm like, yo, it could be as simple as just talking to somebody, like a family member, or I don't know, man. It could be anything. Volunteering on some shit.
I mean, I look at it. That's one of the base reasons why I entertain the idea of being on a podcast. That's why you done got me. I feel like I'm on like a reverse Vlad TV. I done probably said a whole bunch of shit I shouldn't have said on here and got real comfortable. It's a comfortable environment. But I think that's like you see, you using your time and your energies, your effort to just have discussions and put that diary out there, that legacy out there of what you're trying to accomplish. I think like that, it's not a big deal. Like we doing what we can. We try to use the loves of our lives to that passion us to do the things and kind of tie it together just to get a message out. That's the positive side of social media technology out right now. The availability to do that. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's more, financially, you'll be more financially successful, it seems like, if you focus on the negative because you just get those clicks. But to kind of have that patience and try to come from a good place, not to say that you're always going to make the right landing or you're going to be right or people won't disagree with you, but just to be open to healthy conversation and try to grow from it from other sides. Because I might be completely wrong on some shit. If I'm not willing to even listen to somebody just because I don't agree with, what they look like out the gate, you know what I'm saying? That's what white people do to us or other races do to us. We get shit on. They turn Trayvon Martin into the monster instead of looking at him as like a regular little boy. If it was a little bit more of that shit just on small levels, man, I mean, I think that's really the only shot that we got.
Yeah, and I guess I was saying what I said there to kind of reference, like, my interracial marriage has caused me to learn things I would have never learned. Like I've gained insight into all kinds of situations and things now, and I'm able to communicate better to my own people about certain topics and white people about certain topics. I can't say that I would have had that knowledge having been in a just black on black marriage. And I'm not trying to take anything away from a black on black marriage that has its benefits
Right.
and, outside of all the personal stuff. So I guess I'm just trying to say you do what you do.
Yeah.
Like my wife would be the first person with a Black Lives Matter shirt on. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't have planned that shit.
I mean, that's like you said, man. I think nowadays it's just is the motherfucker an ally or not?
Yeah.
Because it's really about green more so now than ever. You know what I'm saying? Is it an ally situation or not? Because your own people will kill you, and somebody that's out of the box, your own people will shit on you. Your own people will be the ones a lot of times if you're gonna be 1,000 about it. And I mean, I think this happens on both sides. I think this crosses cultures to an extent. You know what I'm saying? We seem to have like mastered that shit in my humble opinion on everything that I'm saying. But it's just like your own people will be the ones that'll try to force you in your box and fuck over it. And whatever color people outside of that, like I love my intermediate family, and like I got a group of people. They call us like a quota or whatever you want to call it. Somebody, mama was joking because we've been cool since '99 in school. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful black people. When we put my dog in the ground, we was all there synchronized in our colors. None of them are my blood, but they my family. If I wasn't opened up to that, I wouldn't be able to make it here. That's the reason why I was able to move out here. Same principles with the woman that I'm with. It's just my box opened up as far as that was concerned. Period.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's the same thing that's happening with you. And I just really appreciate, like I said, man, hopefully I ain't ramble off and get way too off the subject and be unprepared on here on your show, man. But and this is real selfish. Like I feel like it was like a therapeutic regular conversation. I forgot we was recording for a while. But I just personally appreciate that.
Nah, that's kind of what I like about or the goal with my podcast is I try to have these conversations. I kind of like I had my previous host. We talked about we would share a lot of facts, and then we would talk about our personal experience with those facts. So I guess I'm just saying that to say. I think at the end of the day, I just want people to come on here and talk about personal experience because that's like something you can't dispute. Like you shouldn't be able to dispute facts because people can twist them and all that. But I'm like, you can't mess with my life. Like I know what my life is. You know what your life is and how you feel about it. And you can't dispute that. I mean, a person could, but you would look like an idiot to me. I'm like, how you gonna tell me about?
You can try.
Like, how you gonna tell me about my life? Like, I know what my life is. So yeah, I guess just saying that to say I want this to be a place where we can have honest conversation. I think we kind of briefly skimmed over everything and said some things about the topic. I didn't really have a plan for where I wanted this to go. This is like my first time having you on the podcast. So I just wanted to kind of just wing it and see what we got into.
Yeah. Nah, I feel like, and that's what I say. It's kind of that's generally how it should be as far as the conversations, man. But I wasn't expecting to, fall into the conversation like that. Like, we on the just like if we was just talking on the phone regular. You know what I'm saying, the whole way. So that's a solid thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be able to have me back one of these days. We could do another one or whatever. But because I feel like we did skim it. It's like way deeper levels of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Way deeper. But I mean, I think we both too. It's kind of Avengers is Endgame time. That's been in the back of the head as well. So all that other shit, you know what I'm saying? It's just like when you live in it day to day. It's just like anything else, man. At the end of the day, it's a relationship. It's still hard. You still dealing with a woman. Women are women. You still got to be a man first and try to stick to those principles and hope everything, works out and you made the right choice. But it's just solid to hear that your situation is solid the way you've grown and how much you've learned from it. And it gives me hope. Like, that's how we got to learn from each other. Cause I'm like sitting back, like, listening. It's kind of like, okay, all right, I'm not really tripping. Cause I'm still on the daily. I got to look at myself just like I'll be looking at that nigga on Facebook. Like, damn, look at this nigga sometime. But that's a personal issue. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that when I come home, and she just looking at me like she believe in me. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what color the woman is, man. That's all a nigga want at the end of the day. And somebody to fix him a sandwich, be down for him and fuck with him and whatever,
Yeah.
I'm just blessed that I got that in my life right now. And I've had it before. It's not like I couldn't find it with black women, or whatever. You know what I mean? Because black women is the only thing other than this woman that I've seriously dated. But, right now, just at this age, I think I'm just at a different point in life where I could just understand myself more and what I'm willing to deal with, what I'm trying to do, and where I'm trying to be at. We kind of, me and my girl is just like, we just link up on the level. She like movies and nerdy shit like that sometimes, and kind of homebody. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And we just been rocking it, trying to stack.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man. God, there's so much more I think I want to say, but there's just not enough. There's not enough hours in the day, but it's just extraordinary to me that I could have missed out on this because of my own insecurities. And then on the flip side of that, like I kind of think we talked about off air, and I'll make this quick, is I feel for black women. I know what it is. You know what I mean? Like, my mom's black. You know what I mean? I got family. I got black auntie. Like, I know what it is. And I feel that pain. I know what it is. And so it's just interesting. I don't want to say tired. There's a lot going on, and I don't know how we combat this other than with love and compassion for each other. As corny as that sounds.
No, it's not corny, man. And it brings up and it prefaces something you said earlier about your mother and thanking God for your mother. And that shit touched my heart. Because, don't nothing go without the mama approval in a sense, into a level. And I think, I'm blessed that my mother's still alive and around. Mm-hmm. And that was another thing. Because, I called my mother and I talked to her about it, and I expressed my concerns and shit like that. And I don't talk to her all the time like that. I'm gonna do what I do. But she know what I've been through or whatever else. And your mother the only woman in your life that ain't gonna want nothing from you. So you gotta believe and trust in what she say. She trying to come from the right place. And she met Sarah, and she was just talking about just appreciative how sweet of a person she was to me. Mm-hmm. Period. That's what her concern was. So that's what broke down all of my ego about anything really in a split second. That genuineness, because I know she's gonna be honest with me. You feel me? Mm-hmm. If she would tell me flat out, like, nah, that ain't for you, Toddy. That ain't what's up. Yeah. She was just flat out just, proud that I was all right and whatever, and just wants the best for me and can see that, it's a healthy situation. So shout out to my mama. But
yeah, man. Hey, Mother's Day coming up soon.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot I gotta get her something. But yeah, like that, when you were talking about that earlier, I was like, damn, that's some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, and how important the black woman is and what they go through.
Yeah, I'm saying like that. Reason, that is painful.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, I know that's painful for me. Like, that's painful. Like,
right. That's okay. It hurts, right? Because that's the part where, for the longest time, I'm not gonna say that I'm innocent, right? But yeah. I had it was just like, I'm not even looking at another color. I'm not looking at nothing. I'm not doing nothing other than being with a black woman for this reason, that reason, this reason, that reason. Number one, I just don't see a white woman. I don't want to have babies with a white woman. I don't want to, this is my mindset. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I just don't want to be married. I don't want the money situation to be flipping around. I don't want to come home to somebody that can't truly, in my eyes, I can't understand that they really, truly, truly feel what I go through. They can sympathize to the extent and even empathize to an extent, but on the deepest level, she can't deeply empathize, like complete mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
As like strong, like, okay, I just, and black women need a good dude at heart. Not the best dude. Like, I'm fucked up in a lot of ways, but as I've grown. I've been blessed to live long enough to be 25 years old when my brain would finish developing. The pre 25-year-old nigga, like, I made a lot of bad like mistakes, but I'm like, still couldn't see it. But sometimes, man, like you said, you gotta go with God seeing you through the universe. You know what I'm saying? And a motherfucker who choose you.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Well,
shit.
me, who chose me too. We chose each other. Not that I settled. Ain't no settling.
No.
But you know what I'm saying? Just who rocking with a nigga? But anyway, man.
Yeah, I'm like, we could keep going on and on because it's personal to us and it's what we go through and it's real, and hopefully somebody listening to this can relate, and hopefully it helps someone, man. I think that's a good point to cut it off. What do you think?
Nah, man, I save me from myself, brother. It's been a pleasure. Seriously, I'm glad to finally get on here with you, man. I mean, I see you, bro.
Hey,
trying to get on, do some YouTube shit one day, man. They need to fuck with you.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep doing this with you, man. I want to keep having you on if you got the time.
Just hit me up, man. We'll make it work, and then maybe we might be able to do a part 2 of this and clean some shit up.
Right. Let's do like, what the hell? These niggas all over the place.
Like, what was going on, man?
Yeah, man, we just kind of talking, like we just chopping it up, really. It's
Straight up.
what it feels like. I do this thing on my podcast. You won't be able to hear it until you go back and check it out. If you do that, I do this thing called a playlist shuffle. I start off each episode with hitting shuffle on my playlist, and whatever pops up. It's real embarrassing, or cool based on what comes on. And I want to tell you what came on. Do you remember the Black Panther soundtrack, The Points? The track with Biggie, Busta, Redman, Bone, Craig Mack.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'm familiar with it. I check it out, and that's dope. You had, I think on the last one, you had D'Angelo playing this shit. I was like, man, hopefully some fly shit playing when I get
know,
on
right? Because like, dog, I got everything in my playlist. I'm not even going to lie right now. Like, dog, some Britney Spears could have popped up.
Yeah.
And I'd have been looking real funny with this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, the points came up, so I gotta do it again. I do it at the beginning and one at the end. So you can check out, see what comes up in the end if you get a moment. So I'm gonna hit it again.
Nah, man, I'm on it, man. I'm gonna fuck with it. Can I give a last little round out shout out real quick?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Skip the Tutorial, try my partner Brian. That crazy motherfucker.
What's up, Brian?
You know what I'm talking about? That dude right there. Sarah, forgive me. You know what I'm saying? I love you. My little sister, Sybil Joe. You know what I'm saying? Niggas that speak between the lines, I fuck with them pretty tough too. And all the other good people. And the fans of the Grip, thank you for dealing with my foolishness.
I'm sure they're going to enjoy listening to you, man. Having a variety of guests on, get a lot of different personalities.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. What's left? Game of Thrones is going to be on tomorrow. Not sure if you're watching. I'm real excited.
Man, I got to get into it, bro. I tried to watch the episode. I done seen that sister and that brother fuck about 3 times and push that little boy out that window. But I'm going to get into it one day, man. I'm going to probably watch Avengers again, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, man. I hope you enjoy the Game of Thrones shit, though, man. I know. Oof, it's fire.
Yeah, it is. All right, man. You have a good night, man, and thanks for taking the time to speak with me.
You too, man. I appreciate you, bro. You take care.
Yep, you too.
Peace.
All right, that was Todd from Skip the Tutorial. He was being humble, but they're on a huge podcast. I think I don't know what their numbers are, but they're doing fine. They're doing really well, and I'm glad he took the time to come on and speak with me. That's like a celebrity in my mind. So yeah, let me go over here real quick to the playlist shuffle, and hopefully something silly doesn't come up. But fuck it, man. If it does, it does. I don't care. I got no ego. I can deal with whatever it is I need to deal with. Shuffle.